Hi everybody, it's Stevie Soap here, and today I'm going to be making a shaving soap. I'm going to start right from the beginning for you guys so you can see what I do step by step. Now here I am, I changed it over to ounces because I had it on something else. I'm measuring up my water, and I use rainwater I've got at the moment in this mixture. Now I'm going to be measuring out my lye. Once I've done that, I am going to be mixing the lye into the water. I do this a little bit at a time. And yes, I should be wearing my gloves, but I'm being very careful not to splash it up. It may look like it's going fast because I've got it in fast forward. I normally do have my gloves on when I'm doing this. Just add a little bit at a time. You can see the steam coming up there. It is very hot. After I've mixed that up, you can see it's quite a funny colour. It does go very clear when it's see it's going clear now. Now that it's all mixed, I have it outside. Now I am going to put my coquille butter and measure it out. I put that in the microwave for 1 minute, and then I check it, and it's still quite hard. So I put it in for another minute, but I check it after 30 seconds. Nope, still not melted enough. So check it in for another 30 seconds. We're all good. Now we are going to add our shortening or tallow or dripping, whichever you'd like to use. Get that all measured out into there. Adding it straight in with the melted coquille butter. Once I have measured that out, I'm going to give it a little bit of a stir. Yeah, give it a bit of a stir just to mix it all in there. Excuse me. In the microwave for 30 seconds. Yep, we're all stirred in and we are good. We did it another 30 seconds and now we are at what we'd like. Got to take the temperature of it. And we're at about 35, which is about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 35 degrees Celsius. Go and check our lye. I forgot to show you what it was at before, but it was like about 60 something degrees Celsius, which is about 140 Fahrenheit. That's what it was. Yep, so they've all cooled down. They're at both at about the same temperature now. Yes, that is perfect what we're wanting. Now I'm going to add my liquid oils. We're going to add some avocado oil, which has got a real green tinge to it, which I quite like for this particular recipe. I don't need to add any colouring or anything like that because it's got that really lovely green. This avocado oil is from the supermarket. I like to get my oils from the supermarket if I can because I find it cheaper, but sometimes if you're buying in bulk you can get it from your supplier. Okay, we're adding castor oil here, which is from Zen Design. But Zen, I actually buy my castor oil in bigger containers than this, a lot bigger, but I add them to these smaller containers because it's easier to work with in these smaller containers. Now I am going to add my rice bran oil. Again, this is from the supermarket. Easy to purchase from the supermarket, very cheap from the supermarket. You can't get your castor oil from the supermarket, so I can't buy that from there. No. Put that aside. Okay. Now I'm going to add a little bit of vitamin E, which I've got from Zen Design. I've been told you just need to add a couple of drips, so that's what I do. About three drips in there. 2, 3. Now I'm going to be using some peppermint fragrance, because this is for a shaving soap, so it's nice to have that refreshing smell. I'm also adding some eucalyptus essential oil, again from Zen Design. This not only will make it smell nice, but it'll also give it a bit of a refreshing feeling on the skin. It's got a little top on it so that it comes out in little drips, so that's why I'm pouring it like that. Put that aside for the minute. Put my gloves on before I forget. My doctor gloves, I call them. Now I'm going to add my my super fats into the liquid oils. Excuse me. You can see they don't actually combine very nicely. Kind of like adding oil into the water at the moment with those. So I will need to give them a really good stir. Yep, they're mixing a bit better together now, but I will get the blender, my hand blender, or hand mixer, whichever you'd like to call it, and just make sure those are well and truly mixed together. You don't want them separating, otherwise you get funny little oil blobs through your soaps, which you don't want. You see the tingy green that it makes? I really do like that green. Okay, now I'm going to add some Rotorua mud, which I have excuse me, got from New Zealand Soap and Candle. I'll just add a bit in there. And remember, when you add this, when you go to mix it with your blender, put the blender over the top of it, because if you don't, it will puff up everywhere. I learned that the hard way. As you can see, I'm putting it on the top of it and then mixing. I'm using the blender to do this to make sure that that Rotorua mud is well and truly mixed through my oils before I add the lye and everything, because I don't want to have clumps of the Rotorua mud through it, or clay. Some people use clay. I do like using the Rotorua mud. I suppose it keeps it more New Zealandy. Now I'm going to add my water and lye, and I will let it run down the stick blender. If I have got my spatula in there instead, I'll let it run down the spatula. This is so that it doesn't splash up on you. You don't want it splashing up on you, because that lye can, even though it's cooled down, it'll still burn through you. So I've mixed it up and I'm at a very light trace now. Just a very light trace. So all the oils are all mixed together, and the lye and the oils, I should say. Got to give it another extra little mix to thicken up that trace, and you can see now we're at a nice trace, which is what I'm wanting. I don't want it too thick because of the containers that I'm going to be putting it in, but I don't want it too light as well. Now I'm adding in my vitamin E, my peppermint fragrance, and my eucalyptus essential oil, all from Zen Designs. Get those well and truly mixed in. If I wanted to have a thicker mixture, I would use my hand blender to mix these in, but I don't want it any thicker than what it is, so I haven't used it. I've poured it into a smaller container now because it's easier to pour this a smaller container, and you will see why in a minute. Here we go. As you can see, I've just got these little wee containers that I found at, it's like a $2 shop, which I'm going to pour my stuff in, my soap into, my shaving soap, I should say. So we just pour them into those because these are easier to handle, because you don't want to be using containers that have got like a screw. If it's a plastic container, that's all good, but you don't want them to be like a metal lid or anything like that, because these are for shaving, so they will be exposed to water in the shower and or the whatever, and you don't want that getting rusty. I'm measuring them out now so that they all weigh approximately about the same, and they're all weighing at about 50 grams. So we just get those all measured out nicely. And there we have it. There is our shaving soap all done. Don't forget to give it a little tap. There you go. Don't they look great? Thanks, everybody. Bye.